Greetings, viewers, and welcome to our mental health series entitled, Are You Well? My name is Boipelo Moesi from the Southern Africa Indian Ocean Division. We are continuing with our presentation on loneliness. Today, we are looking at who is more at risk. Those with a dependent personality, that is, those with a natural need for affirmation and encouragement from friends and family, suffer loneliness and experience feelings of inadequacy, sadness, insomnia, lack of appetite, and despair. Another group is those in isolated profession. There are occupations that require prolonged hours from home. Secondly, those in isolated professions. There are occupations that require prolonged absence from home and place persons in situations of risk, such as those working in the army and researchers who find themselves in isolated remote areas doing the research. And there are also professions of solitary nature, such as your auditors, statisticians, software developers that require long hours of aloneness. This means these people have to be intentional in reaching out to others to keep them company. Otherwise, they are at a higher risk of suffering from loneliness. Another group is those living alone. Unfortunately, due to life circumstances, there are some people who find themselves living alone, such as widows and those that are divorced. They will suffer loneliness because the significant person who used to be there in their lives doing things and activities together are no longer present. So it means occasionally they will miss those people who are no longer there in their lives. So chances are high that some of them will suffer from loneliness, hence they need to be aware. And another group is those living in urban setting. As we know, cities are overpopulated, but unfortunately, unlike in the rural areas where people have more communal life, in cities we find people to be more individualistic, such that you may be living in an estate with a neighbor that you don't know and that you don't even talk to. So this may pose a risk of loneliness to the people living in cities, and city life as well is a busy type of life. The other group is information technology users. In this era of modern technology and social media, many people spend long hours behind their computers and chatting on social media. And unfortunately, though technology is good, it has somehow robbed people of their quality time together. So it means people have to be intentional in reaching out. There are instances where a family can have a good intention of going out to eat, and only to find while waiting for their order to come, all of them are engrossed on their phones and they are not there to chat with each other and fulfill the purpose of them having been there to spend quality time together. So this can pose a risk of these technology users feeling alone because there isn't that moment of coming together. Another group is the elderly people. Retirement normally comes with a tendency of isolation. The gap of separation from the young generation widens and the quality of company diminishes. This has a negative impact on health, as we will expound on this later. Another group is the health issues. Unfortunately, due to challenges in life, some suffer from chronic illness and others are disabled. This can be a disruptive to the regular routine or leave the sufferer housebound or immobile. And this can also be frustrating because when you are used to do things for yourself, you now have to depend for other people to do that for you, and they may not always be available, and sometimes you are left alone home most of the time, and this leads to a risk of you suffering from loneliness. Another one is economic status. Both the affluent and the needy can suffer loneliness due to their circumstance. The affluent, because of their status, may find themselves in isolation with less people to relate to. And the same applies to the needy. They may not have most people that relate to them because of their status as well. Let's now consider the symptoms of loneliness. This is when these symptoms occur regularly, but if you experience them once in a while, it's not that much of a threat than when they occur repeatedly. The symptoms are as follows: having feelings of abandonment, feeling unloved, feeling insecure, and also experiencing some depressive symptoms of not wanting to interact or doing things that are of interest to you, feeling anger, that is just being easily irritated by things that will not even make one to be angry, having fear of the unknown, and also feeling misunderstood, generally critical of yourself and not appreciating anything. Even when the people see the good in you, you don't acknowledge it, overly sensitive or self-pitying, and becoming critical of others. Let's now consider behaviors associated with loneliness. When these feelings happen, a lonely person can begin to do things or display behaviors that perpetuate their loneliness. For example, becoming discouraged. One will feel no urge of doing things that they used to do. For instance, if you are a person who loves gardening, all of a sudden your plants are there dying because you don't have the energy to do it anymore. Or if you are an outdoor person, all of a sudden you find yourself spending much time indoor. Or also, they lose their sense of desire and motivation to get involved in new situations. They also isolate themselves from people and activities altogether on purpose. Like if you are outgoing, all of a sudden you tend to turn out all invitations of social gathering, even though it's something that you enjoy doing. On the contrary, other people deal with loneliness by becoming too quickly involved and overcommitted to people and activities without understanding or evaluating the consequences of their involvement. Because they just got involved in all this to satisfy the empty feeling that they felt within, so they didn't intelligently think about the consequences. Having said that, let us end by looking at a promise from the Bible. What does God's word say to us? In Matthew 11, verse 28, Christ is extending an invitation to you, to me, and says, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." May you accept Christ's invitation and experience his rest. Thank you for listening. Let's meet again next time as we continue with our discussion on loneliness. Stay blessed.